Wow, that felt amazing. That feels phenomenal. So in this video, I'm going to take a look at one of the underdogs I feel in the iron category, and it's Srixon Golf. We've got 3 iron models we're going to take a look at, hit them, test them, provide you with some feedback of the looks, the feels, and obviously the performance with TrackMan. So Srixon Golf in the iron category, as I mentioned, definitely a bit of an underdog and often overlooked by many golfers, but they make fantastic irons. I've previously had a few sets in the past of Srixon's, really enjoyed them, and they are very, very good, high quality irons. 3 models to take a look at in this video. We've got ZXi4, ZXi5 and ZXi7. I'm going to hit all 3 models. So we're going to start off with the ZXi4. So this is Srixon's most game improvement iron. This is the most forgiving iron, strongest lofted iron, so obviously looking for forgiveness and distance in this particular club. But, and there is a big but here, this looks a great looking iron. It doesn't look as chunky as maybe what it's sort of renowned to be in that game improvement category. It's a hollow construction, so it's blanked off at the back a little bit more, so it gives it that very premium look, a very similar look and style to the other 2 models as well, so they all blend very nicely, these irons. We look into that playing position with the ZXi4, and as you can appreciate, we're going to see that thickish chunky top line, which we do, but a little bit of offset, but the shaping is very much in that maybe what you call that player's sort of shaping, so it's not anything too intrusive there in terms of the look or bulky or ugly in a way. Very nicely sort of finished, that satin finish. We've got that polished chrome on the back, again that gives it that sort of premium look to it. So this is 7 iron I'm hitting. This is lofting in at 28.5 degrees of loft, which is probably going to be quite typical for this iron in this category. Oh, that's a beautiful strike. Wow, that felt amazing. That wasn't the sound or the feel I was expecting from this type of iron, to be honest. I say hollow construction, typically, I've always said this a lot on my review videos, hollow constructions tend to be a little bit on that clickier side. That sounds amazing. So the real huge talking point across all of these 3 models is this eye forged, is what Srixon are saying is making their best feeling iron to date. And off that first hit and that sound and feel off a hollow construction, and it's not a full body forged head, this is felt incredible. So interested to see when we move into the ZXi7, for instance, which is a 1-piece forging, that could be a sensational feel again. So great look down by the ball. As I say, it's nothing too massive down there. We've got a thickish top line. We know this is a game improvement iron, but it has a really nice sort of look to it. That's a nice strike, touch low in the face, but beautiful flight there. Great feel off that. I'm really quite taken aback by that, to be honest, the feel off that club face. And a good sort of number. I mean, this spin is on that low side. We're probably going to expect to see like a lower spin out with this 28.5 degree loft of a 7 iron. Spin sometimes is sacrificed a little bit. So Srixon are using a different material on the body, and again across the whole 3 of these models. So the body of the ZXi4 is a certain material that is 14% softer than previous 4 models. So that's where they're trying to get this sort of feel across in this particular iron, and I think, as I say, those first couple of hits definitely doing a job there. Oh, that's a good strike. Beautiful fly. Really quite enjoy hitting that, to be honest. For an iron that maybe something that I wouldn't sort of really consider in terms of my bag, but I think this could be very blendable, maybe with the ZXi5s here, you know, the 4s and the longer irons, a little bit more launch, a little bit more forgiveness, a bit more power, and then moving into the 5, maybe in those scoring irons. So other technology that we're seeing in these irons, we've got the main frame technology. We've seen that in previous models. We're basically taking additional weight away from areas that they don't feel like they need it, repositioning that into certain areas that helps with centre of gravity, location, forgiveness, speeds off the club face. We've also got the VT sole, which again we've seen for many generations now in the Srixon irons, this little sort of ridge that runs through the middle of the sole. That helps with turf interaction, so the club getting into that turf but also keeping it fast through the turf and exiting very smoothly. That really does sort of help. Gorgeous, really like that. Very impressed with that iron, to be honest. So we've also got what Srixon are calling progressive grooves. So in the 4 iron through to 7 iron, we've got slightly wider set grooves, and then as you go into the shorter irons, your scoring irons, they come a little bit more close together, a little bit deeper on the grooves for that little bit extra control in the scoring irons. Ah, flying off, beautiful. Love that. Feedback off the club face is fantastic. A little bit of left to right shape on that particular one. Nice bit of control. And I think with the hollow construction there, with this tungsten bar inside the head, obviously low in that CG location, we get a good land angle coming in. Even though it's a strong lofted golf club, the spin is a little bit low, but we can see that land angle coming into that high 40s, sometimes touching that 50-degree mark there, which gives us that sort of stopping power when it comes into the green. So availability wise in the ZXi4, we've got a 4-iron through to pitch wedge, gap wedge and sand wedge, and for left-handers it's just 4 to pitch only. So moving on now, ZXi5. So Srixon is saying this is power and feel combination. So maybe aim towards that low to mid handicap golfer. ZXi4, maybe that mid to high handicap golfer to potentially as a suitability. Again, beautiful look. We've got a similar sort of look. We've got that polished section at the back. It does look premium. I'm very much a bigger fan of how these sort of look. And what we see with the 5 now is it's not hollow. So we've got this cavity in there. Again, it's filled with a little badge there, but it isn't hollow now. So we've got a little bit of a different sort of look behind the golf ball, tiny bit more compact. We've still got a medium to thickish top edge, not quite as thick as what we saw in the 4, so a little bit more of a squat appearance there, a little bit less offset again, but again a very nice shaping, a very similar shaping. So that's where I would say to you, you could blend these two sets quite nicely, the 4s and the 5s, because the look's very similar. It's not like you're going to have two completely different looking sets in your golf bag. They will blend quite nicely. So 7-iron with this one is now 31 degrees of loft, so as you can appreciate, we're going to get a little bit more loft, aiming for a little bit more control, but this is probably in that player's distance category now. Well, that's a really high ball flight. And again, a little bit of a different sound. That actually sounds a touch clickier, funny enough, than the 4 on that first hit. And interestingly there, that spin has shot up a lot there, hasn't it, on that particular one. Definitely climbed a little bit more in the air, whether that was a bit of, it felt like a good strike, to be honest. Let's hit a few more. That's a nice strike. Definitely a higher flight there in comparison to the 4. Yeah, just caught that one a little bit heavy, a little bit matte and ball together. That spin's probably just going to drop off a little bit. Yeah, and it has done considerably there. That's more my strike more than the club. Yeah, definitely sort of climbs a little bit more, well, quite a bit more than that 4, to be honest. That spin's going to go up again there, I can tell. Just sort of stalls a little bit in the air. Yeah, 6.5. So there's a lot of control there. Again, land angle's good. The strike was pretty good there, to be honest. So a very different flight to what we've seen with the ZXi4. So maybe the golf who, you know, is trying to get ultimate sort of distance, get the ball out there, then the 4's obviously a great option there, isn't it? Somebody looking a little bit more control, but maybe still wants that forgiveness element, then 5 could be also, well, a different option there. Ooh, right, a little bit of test forgiveness. That was a bit low in the face. Probably going to lose a little bit of ball speed. Yeah, it's a tiny bit of a drop off there, isn't there? Yeah, just lost a little bit through that slightly poor strike, low in the face. So technology wise with the ZXi5, very similar to what we see in the 4. Obviously it's not hollow, but we have got that mainframe technology, got that VT sole. We've got a face plate that is now 14% softer again through that technology or the forging process that they're going through. So very similar on that tech, you know, with the grooves and everything like that. Okay, that's a decent strike. Again, definitely a higher ball flight, super different ball flight. Yeah, so the big takeaway there for me is definitely that higher ball flight. A little bit of a different feel, again, a little bit clickier there. So availability-wise in the ZXi5 is a 3-iron all the way through to sand wedge, but in left hand it's 4-iron to pitching wedge only. Field control workability, that's what Srixon's saying is the ZXi7 is all about. We see a slimmer profile now, the sole much thinner, help with that workability. Beautiful look again, a very similar sort of theme to what we've seen in the other ones. A little bit more compact into that playing position, and we're seeing again a little bit more squat head. Now, having said that, I always feel, and I've seen this a lot with Srixon irons, is the top edge is still quite blocky, I think, especially in this 7 head, which sometimes you look at other brands in this player's iron, cavity iron, you generally see this sort of top edge get a little bit more sort of neater in a way, a little bit thinner, a little bit more shaped. It's quite sort of square and blocky. That's probably my only negative, I would probably say, with that top edge, to be honest. But at the end of the day, the shape in the head is very, very nice. Premium look yet again. 7-iron, and we're going into 32 degrees of loft now, so a little bit more loft as you expect in this type of iron. Very much an iron that a lot of the tour players will have in the bag. Obviously, they do offer a pure out Z-forged, I think it's called the blade iron, but a lot will have this cavity in there. Oh Wow, that feels phenomenal. First hit. Super soft off that club face. And again, this is what Srixon has said they've done a lot of work on, is the feel of these irons, making them softer. This is a one-piece forged head now in this particular model in the 7, and this is 7% softer than the previous models. Off that first hit, I definitely agree. So technology-wise in this iron, it's very similar to what we've seen in the other two models, but we haven't got the main frame technology. We've got a pure frame, and we've got this little bit of an added weight of forged material behind the hitting area. That little ridge in the centre just gives it a little bit more of that solid feel, helps with that that feedback through the iron. But we've still got that VT sole, obviously a little bit narrower than the other two, as you'd expect. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. What an iron feel off the club face there. Possibly one of the best feeling irons I've hit, if I'm going to put it out there. Big claim. Beautiful. A little bit of a better strike there, to be honest, on my half. A little bit of a higher ball flight as well, just through that better connection. Better strike up the club face. A really good sort of spin number, and that land angle's exactly where we want it. So there's the control that we're sort of talking about with this iron. If golf who maybe isn't striving for distance, wants that sort of feedback, that feel, maybe that workability of shot shaping with some control, then definitely an option for you to go out and have a look at. So soft off the face, that is incredible. That was a fraction on the toe. Getting that feedback through that club, which is brilliant. As a player, you know, it's great to get that feedback exactly where you've hit it on that club face. And maybe even start to see just on that dispersion there, the front to back is becoming a lot tighter. Left to right, obviously a little bit more me, unfortunately. That's a bit more user error. But that front to back dispersion getting a lot tighter. It's exactly what this type of iron is trying to promote. Oh, and there's another beautiful shot. That feels phenomenal. So availability wise in the ZXi7, we've got a 3-iron all the way through to pitching wedge, gap wedge and sand wedge. And again, for left-handers, it's 4 to pitch only. Well, that's one of the best feeling irons I've actually hit, if I'm going to put it out there. So I think that's a cracking lineup. We're going to look at some numbers now. And just while we're doing that, I just want you to post comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on the Srixon as a lineup in the irons. Have you got a set of Srixons? Is that something you want to go out and try? Definitely a little bit of an underdog. They feel fantastic. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch you all very soon.